everybody. It's Coach Jennifer with the Special Education Parent Coach, and we have another weekly edition of Ask Coach Jennifer. So today's question has to do with how do you deal with a school that has a meeting to basically decide everything for the annual goals and for the interventions and accommodations before they meet with you for the actual IEP meeting. So what I took from that question is you feel like you come into your IEP meeting, all the forms are already filled out. It's just a matter of reviewing them with you quickly and asking you to sign it like a rubber stamp. No changes. It's not a work in progress. Well, that's a really common problem. That's a very common concern that parents have. I have never been around a school that didn't do it that way. And I think it's not because they want to necessarily not have the parent input. I think logistically and time-wise, they don't have time to sit with you and type it in. So what we need to look at is when they bring an IEP to your meeting that's already, mostly filled out, we need to look at that as a working document, not something that you can't make changes to. And even after an IEP has been signed, you can certainly make adjustments or change some things around. It is a work in progress document. It's not set in stone. So if we look at it from that perspective, then what I normally do is I come in to those IEP meetings with my own documents, with my own agenda, with my own goals. And then we kind of see where their leaning is and where my leaning is, and we try to come together in a compromise that serves my child best. So there's a couple of things that you want to be made aware of, and kind of the process that I use. We call it's a part of the big picture for the Special Education Parent Coach called the Mazzella Method. And the Mazzella Method is something that I designed and have trial and errored through the last decade. And it really is quite effective and can be really effective to help you feel like, number one, you are the expert when it comes to your child. And your voice should be heard. And your agenda should be heard. So I want to make sure that you recognize that you really are the expert when it comes to your child. And your voice is really important in making sure that the long-term plan and long-term vision for your child is being met by this document that you have this year. So, a couple of things. When you get your notice of meeting or notice of action to have a meeting, the first thing that I do, the very, very first thing, is I craft a letter and I send it to the school, asking for all of their documents prior to the meeting. And you will probably, especially in the beginning, until they get used to your new way of handling things, you will probably hear, we won't have them ready, they're not going to be put together prior to your meeting, so there's no way we can give it to you. Well, that's fine. I request them. They do have 45 days by law. Within 45 days, they have to provide you with a copy. So if they won't have them ready by the time of the meeting that they've already scheduled, then I ask them to reschedule the meeting until I have a chance to. My ideal world is 2 weeks prior to the meeting, but if I get them a week before, I'm fine with that. But I'm not getting them the day before. I'm not getting them the morning of. I'm getting them with enough time for me to actually go through and review it. And I take the year's previous IEP and compare the two to kind of see what direction we're going. Are they adding new services? Are they taking something away? And why? So that's really important that you have that comparison, right? So you're going to compare those two documents. And then you're going to have your own meeting before the meeting. You're going to sit down and make sure that every item on that IEP is really serving the interest of your student and serving to help the vision that you've created because you've worked with the Special Education Parent Coach and created a vision for them. You're going to make sure that that vision is being addressed in this IEP because you don't have a lot of time to waste. Having a year or two of an IEP that doesn't serve your child or serve the vision for your child. Okay? So 45 days, they've got to give you all the documents, all the evaluations, everything. And so postpone the meeting until then. The second thing is that you really want to make sure that you're providing a copy of your vision. You're communicating your vision to that team at the school. Because then a lot of times I've communicated the vision so well that the proposed IEP that I get prior to the meeting actually is pretty darn close to what I would want in the IEP. So there's not a lot of negotiating or changes that have to be made because I've communicated the vision. They've looked at the IEP and made sure that it meets that vision, and then, everybody's happy. So you want to make sure that you request all those documents ahead of time, but you also want to really make sure that you're communicating your vision. What do you want your child to achieve? Where do you want your child to go? And what are the steps that you think are important for them to make that goal? Okay? So the last and final thing that I don't recommend, but you certainly can option it if none of these other things have worked, is refuse to sign it. Absolutely refuse to sign it. If I have a child's IEP that does not serve my student and doesn't address the vision that I have for them, if it's not an appropriate IEP, then I don't do it and I won't sign it until the changes are made that I feel are really important. So that's what I would say. Handle the meeting before the meeting. Understand that it is what it is. It definitely happens that way. And there are reasons that it happens that way, but there are definitely some things that you can do to assume the leadership role of that child's team and to really create an IEP that's going to serve your child best. So I hope that answered your question, and I would love to hear back from more people. If you want to go to our Facebook page and submit a question, I will come back next week with another awesome question. And I hope that you are working really hard to achieve the vision that you have set for your child. If you want help with the visioning, that's really the cornerstone of the Mazzella method, which is my patented system that I put together to really help you take your child from where they are now and really help them and change the future for them so that they can achieve their best life. Thanks and have a wonderful day.